Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to We Love Metal. We are on the phone with Chris Letchford of Scale the Summit, the instrumental geniuses as many call them. How are you doing today, Chris?
Doing good. Thanks for having me.
The new album, The Collective, dropped on March 1st. Reviews have been very positive. You guys must be excited.
Very, very excited. It's nice to release a record and people, which actually has a new direction and have people still dig it. So it's exciting for sure.
Excellent. I mean, you guys have been together now for a few years. I mean, you've been going, and is the writing process getting any easier for you?
Yeah, I'm actually the guy who does the core songwriting. So being the main guy as a songwriter, it's been easier and easier. Like, I think when we first started, it was a little bit different. Like, we had a little bit different writing approach, and we kind of go riff by riff and stuff. But now I'm actually composing full songs, start to finish, and then kind of handing it off to the guys and being like, here, go to work and do what you guys do, and add to it, take away, let me know what you guys think, let's do this, let's do that. But I think now we're so on the same page. This is our third record, that now we kind of know what each other's expecting. We kind of know the vibe of the song right away versus having to spend a lot of time talking about it and reworking parts. And actually, this record was written pretty quickly and pretty smoothly, so it's been cool.
Excellent. I read you guys met at the Los Angeles Musicians Institute, correct?
Yes.
And so was the plan to actually start a band or just jam while you're getting your education?
No, the plan was, me and Travis actually grew up in the same neighborhood here in Houston, and we tried forming a band like a little bit out of high school, and we're like, okay, well, there's like nobody here, so I had already planned on going to MI, convinced him to come with me. We moved out there with the plan of forming a band, finding those guys. But the original plan was, we actually did the luthier course there to learn how to build custom guitars. And we ended up changing our mind like midway. We finished the course and it was great, and we know how to fix our instruments and all that stuff and build customs from scratch. But then we switched into the playing course, and we both decided we wanted to just get better, and it gave us more time to spend in the school to find guys. And like, I think within the first 3 months we found Pat and Jordan and started really going at it and started writing and rehearsing, and then a little bit out of getting out of school we started playing shows. But yeah, the plan was definitely we needed somewhere to go to find the guys that we needed, because we couldn't find a solid drummer or a bass player.
Now the obvious thing that's different about Scale the Summit is the fact that you play instrumental completely.
Yes.
You guys seem to be making it work where others have failed miserably. Do you know why that is?
I don't know. I mean, we've always loved instrumental music, but I guess we just kind of approached it from more of a, let's write instrumental music for a broader audience can understand, to where you don't want to go too technical to where the non-music nerds just get bored, or go too soft and quiet to where the musician fan base, which we really have a huge musician fan base, gets bored on that end, because it's, nothing really that special. But I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be arrogant for me to say, oh yeah, this and that, this is what we do. But I think we just, like every band, I think we just happened to fall together with the right pieces that ended up with the majority of people liking what we write, I guess.
And that you actually kind of led me into my next question. When you guys first started, I mean, you were just getting on stage. Did you find it challenging to keep people engaged with instrumentals?
Well, at first, like any band, it doesn't really matter what style you play. When you first start out, people are going to be criticizing you and saying, oh, you guys need to do this, oh, you guys need to do that. And then the second that you land any bit of kind of success, it all goes away. It's really lame that things are like that, but it's just the way it's always been, I guess. Because we played in bands before, they're like, oh, you guys are good, but this and this and this. And this is coming from someone who doesn't play in a band, it may be a friend of us or whatever. But it's just, I feel like when we first started, things went well, actually. We drew well. We were playing venues that were like right down the street from our college. Like the Knitting Factory in LA was like right down the street from our college. So all of our friends from school would come out, and we were playing stuff that was totally different from everybody else at that school. But I think people enjoyed it just because it was different. And then, like I said, we appealed to more musicians, obviously, firsthand. But I feel like they were entertained at first. But I've seen videos of us that we still have from like one of our first shows, and it was just like the stuff we were playing then was just so nuts and technical, like the stuff off Monument, but like listening to it live, I was just like, good Lord, you know, like we played some really fast technical stuff that now it's like we've totally like chilled out. We're writing like, you know, compositional pieces, and it's cool. It's cool to see like the evolution of that, how it played out.
Do you still get the "you guys need a vocalist"?
You know, no one says it to us anymore, but I've read, people don't think that the band sees it, but, you know, they always, like, catch, you know, reading about their band and stuff on, like, forums and stuff. And I see, like, time to time, but, man, when we first started, it was just like, you guys need a singer, you guys need a singer. But that's like I said, the second you have any success, then it solidifies you as a band, and people will leave you alone and let you do your thing. But, yeah, when we first started, it was like, you guys should get a singer. It's like, well, no, that wouldn't work because we're an instrumental band. How would that work? You know, I'd be real sarcastic with them. But it just because it kind of started to get irritating, so I would just start writing them back really sarcastic messages like, oh yeah, how would that work? Because we're an instrumental band, you know, how do you have vocals over an instrumental band? They're like, oh, we don't gotta be a dick about it. I think it's funny. You know, and I tell them, I'm like, I'm just playing, man. It's like, you know, it's not a big deal. It's, you know, we're an instrumental band. We're never gonna have a singer, and that's the way it is. It's like, I think people are just used to that, you know, this is the form for a band. You need a bass, drums, guitar, and a singer to have a band. It's like, that's not true. You know, there's been instrumental bands for forever.
Exactly. Would you ever consider doing like a guest spot with a vocalist?
Yeah, we've been asked that from time to time. I highly doubt it'll ever happen. I mean, I don't want to confuse people. Even if you label it as a guest spot, you know, there'll be people that will just hear that one song and be like, oh, this is cool, you know, oh, they have a singer now, and I think it would just be confusing.
I think after people hear the Collective, they're not going to even say that on forums anymore. You guys did an amazing job on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, no matter what, though, you know how people are. Like, there's always going to be someone who doesn't like it.
Yeah. Can you tell us what the term adventure metal means?
Well, when we first started at MI, that's when it came about. Like, a buddy of ours, this guy, Evan, actually came in and watched our set. He's like, man, you guys your music takes me on a journey, takes me on an adventure. So we started calling it adventure metal because, like a lot of people that know, like, theory and stuff, I don't know if you know, like, time signatures or anything, but we write a lot of stuff in, like, 6/8, 3/4, 6/4 time signatures, and with that signature, it's like the waltz signature, it flows very, very journey-esque, so it kind of has, like, a very progressing, like, it doesn't really ever slow down or speed up kind of feel to it, and that's what kind of came about with the adventure metal, which gave us that whole journey kind of vibe that our music does. But now I think that we're still doing it, but it's like now we've got, you know, darker, spookier, more mysterious type adventures, you know, like going into like dark caverns or, you know, whatever, like vampires or something, you know, like crazy spooky stuff or whatever this time around than before. It was just all like super epic, flying on clouds type music, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually what I compared it to in the review, was being on a journey from start to finish, because the imagery you guys can create is phenomenal.
Awesome, thank you. It's really cool, because like that's how we come with a lot of our song titles. So it's cool, like that, you know, people outside of the band like hear it and they're like, oh, you know, I see this or I see that. And it's like, it would be so cool to just like, you know, sit out in this field and just like listen to you guys' music and just like watch. You know, it's cool. It's really exciting and like rewarding to hear all that.
Well, I gotta ask you guys about a tour you were on, because you were on with a fellow Canadian of ours in Devin Townsend.
Oh yeah.
What's Devin like on the road?
He's awesome. And you know what's crazy about that guy is I remember like 10 years ago when I was like 16, I went to see him with Strapping Young Lad. And, you know, this is back in the Skullet days, and I you know, he came out on stage, and it was the most angry person I've ever seen in my entire life, and just like cussing at the crowd and all this. I'm like, oh my god, this guy's crazy. And then, you know, now seeing him with the Devin Townsend project, I've been a fan of his forever. You know, the angry thing didn't bother me because I was a fucking kid. You know, I was like, oh yeah, you know, heavy metal. And when he came out on stage this time and I met him, he was like totally transformation. It's totally new. Devin Townsend is like totally different guy, and he's so funny. He's like, he jokes more than I do, and I thought like I was sarcastic and joked around a lot. This guy like took it to a whole nother level. It was so much fun being on tour with that guy, and he's also super talented and a freaking amazing singer.
He is, and we just did did the EP he got off that tour, and some of the stuff he said to the crowd was just phenomenal. But his voice was over the top in that.
Oh yeah, every day I would just stand, and it was Super Crush is my favorite song he played on that tour. And every day I'd just come out there right when that song would be about right when we're done packing up all of our gear after we played, and I'd run in there and watch that song, and I'm just like, how the hell does he sing that good every day? Because, there's a lot of bands out there that I just can't get into them because their singers can't pull off any of their stuff live, and it just bothers me. That guy, man, it's just crazy how he can sing in key like that so perfect and still play guitar and entertain the crowd. He's such a great entertainer musician. It's like crazy.
And on the topic of that same tour, you guys were sharing a bus. I thought I saw in a video yesterday with Between the Buried and Me, Labelmates. That must have been quite an experience with you guys all crammed in there.
Oh man, it was crazy because the bus we had 12 bunks, but we had 13 guys in there. So actually, our tour manager, merch guy, actually slept in the back area, which pretty much has like a full couch. So it's basically more spacious than a bunk. But yeah, it was nuts. Like, it was cool as hell sharing a bus with them because me and Travis have actually known the guys in that band, and Travis even more because he toured with them when he played it Into the Moat for a couple months. And so he got to know them really well, and I had been a fan of theirs since their self-titled record, and so it's cool. Like, we'd always been like, come on, let's tour together, but I think we were still too small, and finally we released, like a full length with a label, and we're like, come on, let's make it happen. And it finally did, and they were like, cool, let's share a bus. I'm like, hey, even better, that makes for even more fun. And those guys are all really funny and really cool guys, and so it was definitely an experience. And touring in a bus, like, even though it was crammed, it was still more relaxing than touring in a van, for sure.
I guarantee it was. When we announced that we'd be interviewing you, I got a fan question here. It's a frequent reader of our site, Bob Newhart is Hardcore. He wanted to know about your guitar heroes, metal and non-metal. Who got you into playing?
My first the first guy who really made me take guitar seriously was Dimebag from Pantera.
Nice.
And it's totally random because I don't think my playing resembles any of his stuff, but that guy, at 15 years old, I was just like, I want to play metal guitar, and this is what I want to do. And then I'd say Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine really made me think differently about guitar with, like, experimental stuff. And then I got into John Petrucci, and then I found Guthrie Govan, who's just, like, insane on guitar. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but
yes, very much.
It's amazing. And then this gypsy jazz guitar player named Varelli Lagreen made me have a whole new look on improv and what you could do with the guitar while noodling around. It's like, that guy is an insane player. He actually played a clinic at my college, and I hadn't heard of him. And when I went in there and I sat down, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. It's gypsy jazz. My favorite guitar concert to date.
Wow. That
was that guy's show. After he was done, I was like, this was amazing. Like, it was him, an upright bass player, a fiddle, and a rhythm guitar, and it was just like all acoustic. It's like all the crazy stuff we play on electric, he was playing even more nut stuff, but on an acoustic guitar, and it was just so much fun. Like, it's such a really cool, vibey music, gypsy jazz is, and it's very up-tempo, and it's like there's lots of improv and just kind of winging it, and he did, it was one of the greatest guitar performances I've ever seen. And then they did question and answers afterward, and people were asking him, like, how much do you practice? And he's like, I don't practice, I just play. And I'm like, that's amazing.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is Chris Letchford from Scale the Summit. We want to thank you so much for doing this, Chris.
Cool, thank you a lot for having me.
I want to encourage everyone to go out and pick up The Collective. Out now, phenomenal instrumental record. Just phenomenal record. We should stop saying instrumental. So, thanks again, Chris.
Cool, man. Thank you.